Hello, students. Myself, Rakesh Kumar Meena, Assistant Professor in English. Today, in this video lecture, I will teach you detailed summary of the story The Three Questions, written by Russian author Leo Tolstoy. It's a very famous story and it is first published in 1885 as a part of the collection of stories named What Men Live By and Other Tales. And now I am going to start the summary of the story. Once a king had three questions, and he thought that if he knew the right answer of these questions, he would never fail in his life. And these questions are, the first question is how to tell the right time for every deed, or what is the right time to begin something. The second question is how to know who are the most essential people, or which people he should take advice from. The third question is how to decide which pursuits are the most important. In other words, how to decide what is the most important thing to do. So the king sent messengers throughout his kingdom to get the answer of these questions. He promised to give a reward of a large sum to the person who answered his three questions. Money wise men tried their luck. They gave a number of answers. One said that the king should go by a timetable. He should follow a timetable. Another said that the king should do whatever seemed him necessary at the moment. Means the king should do his works according to the time. The third suggested that the king should consult wise men or magicians. Answering the second question, they gave top importance to his counselors, or to the priests, or to doctors, or to soldiers. In reply to the third question, the wise man gave importance to science, or fighting, or religious worship. But the king was not satisfied with all these answers. So he decided to dress as a messenger in order to visit a hermit in the jungle. When he reached there, he saw the old and weak hermit digging the ground. The king asked his questions to the hermit but got no answers. Then he took the spade from the hermit and began to work in his palace. Several hours passed in this way. It was evening, so the king stopped digging the beds. The king was ready to take leave from the hermit. Just then, the hermit told that someone was running towards them. The king saw a bearded man running towards them. His hands were pressed against his stomach, from which blood was oozing. As he reached the king, he fainted and fell to the ground. He had a large wound in his stomach. The king washed the wound and compressed it with his handkerchief. At last, the bleeding stopped, and the man felt better and asked for some water to drink. The king gave him fresh water. The sun had set by then. The king and the hermit carried the wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. The tired king also fell asleep. When the king awake next day, the bearded man asked to forgive him. The man was, in fact, the king's enemy. He had followed the king to take revenge on him. He had vowed to kill the king. The king had once put his brother to death. The man hid himself in a bush on the way to the jungle. He came out of his hiding palace when the king did not return for long. He got wounded by king's bodyguards. He would have died if the king had not dressed his wounds. Now he promised to serve the king as a faithful servant. The king was happy that he had made peace with his enemy. He forgave the man and promised to give back his property. The king then went up to the hermit. He again asked the same three questions. Answer. The hermit explained that by digging the beds for him, the king had escaped attack. So the most important time was when he was digging the beds. The hermit himself was the most important person. So to do him good was the king's most important business. The hermit further explained to the king that the most important person for him was the person with him at a particular moment. The most important business was to help that person, and the most important time was now, that is the present moment. So these are the three answers of the king. With this, it is the end of this interesting story of Leo Tolstoy. Thank you.